Hey YouTube, sitting here, beautiful South Beach, and I'm gonna talk about my 5 favorite countries that I've traveled to. Coming up next. Hey, how we doing today? As you can see, I'm sitting here on a bench, beautiful South Beach. I'm in Flamingo Park today. It's been some really good filming done. I've been shooting a ton, so I'm gonna continue to do that. I get asked all the time, what's your favorite country? What's your favorite country? What's your favorite country? Jason, you've been to 26 countries. Which one is your favorite? So on this today, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do my 5 favorite countries. So my 5th country, this is actually more of just because of one particular city, but I'm gonna go with the Czech Republic. And I've never even been to other parts of the Czech Republic except Prague. But Prague is absolutely amazing. I mean, everything you could want in a city, Prague is at. If I was gonna rank any city above Miami, the only one that's in the competition is Prague. If it wasn't cold up there, I'd probably go ahead and rank it ahead, honestly. It's such an awesome city. The people are so laid back, so down to earth. The food is good. It's really cheap, really cheap. The beer is just flowing. There's so much Czech beer, and it's all so cheap. Like, there's also a bunch of weed shops, if that's your thing. Again, I used to smoke weed, I no longer do, but if you do, there's weed shops everywhere. The party scene, absolutely fantastic. And the craziest thing, true story from Prague, I was with a group of people, and we were kind of in a bad neighborhood, but we kind of just got lost. We were walking, and we didn't actually, it wasn't like bad like America. We never felt unsafe. But some police pulled over, and they're like, what are y'all doing? We're like, we're trying to get to this particular club. We were just honest. And they're like, I think we might have took a wrong turn. They're like, yeah, you should have took that bridge back there. They're like, well, this isn't the best area. You know, they could tell we were from out of town. They're like, so get in our cars. And so they called a backup car, and the 2 cars took us to the club. There was 6 of us. We all got in the back of police cruisers. It's not like the police here. It wasn't like some big chain. They weren't jerks to us. They're like, you're just in a bad area. So we got in the back of police cars. They took us right to the club where we were gonna go rage and dropped us off. And it was awesome. But that's just kind of how Prague is. It's not as insane, or there's not this hatred of the police because the police treat people poorly. We were like a mixed group of races. It wasn't, we were from all over the world. It wasn't just people that looked like me, believe me. So it was just people being nice, people being helpful. They knew we were from out of town. They knew we didn't know where we were. We didn't even, again, it didn't even look like a bad area to me, but that's what they told us, and they went ahead and brought us to the club. So, Czech Republic's number 5, all because of Prague. If you get an opportunity, highly recommend. Number 4 is Mexico, okay? And Mexico is great. You know, there's so many different areas in Mexico. It's such a massive country. Similar to the United States. It's like saying, oh, I went to the US and the only place you ever been was New York. You never went down to Miami, you never went out to LA, you never went up to Chicago or seen the Grand Canyon even, you know? Mexico is very similar in that it's such a massive country, and there's just so many places and things to do. Like, I've been to Oaxaca, I've been to Mexico City, I've been to Puerto Escondido, I've been to Puerto Sala. You name it, I've been, not everywhere, but I've been a bunch of places in Mexico. I've been to Cabo. Actually never been to Cancun, which is weird, but I'll get there one day. It's more of a resort town, and I'll check it out. But I put it at number 4 because, I mean, it's super cheap. Every American knows that. Mexico is so cheap. It's amazing. And the food is outstanding. It's the second best food of any country I've ever been to. The number one country is also on this list, but it's the second best food I've ever had. The beer is cheap. The tequila tastes better in Mexico than any tequila I've had here, which makes sense because it's not some industrialized mechanic process. It's relatively easy to get around. Knowing some Spanish definitely helps in Mexico, whereas just knowing English is good enough in Europe. And if you're in one of the resort towns like Cancun or Cabo or even Puerto Escondido, just knowing English is fine. You know what I mean? But even like Mexico City, there was a bunch of signs that were in English as well. You could always find somebody that speaks both. It's pretty easy to do traveling in Mexico. So I got Mexico number 4, just because I've done some great surfing there, some great partying. I've done all kind of fun stuff in Mexico. So and the food is just so good. I couldn't leave it off the list. Number trace, numero trace after Mexico is Indonesia, okay? I've only been to Bali. It's the only island I've been to, and Indonesia has over 200 islands. I've only been to Bali, all right? But it was unbelievable. I mean, some of the most picturesque, stunning views you'll ever see in your life. Truly, the entire island is picturesque. And then they have like the monkey resort where there's just all these wild monkeys running around this old like abandoned temple, and it's so awesome. One of the monkeys grabbed the water and like unscrewed it, and I had no idea that a monkey was capable of doing that, but it was like the coolest thing I ever saw. We went surfing every single day. So if surfing's your thing, there's waves all over Bali. It doesn't matter what level you're at. We went to Echo Beach where the waves were like 30 feet, which I would not get in that now. I would be completely terrified, but we were surfing every single day, so my confidence was peaking. But there's also like 6-7 foot waves if you're like an average surfer like I am. And then they have just like longboarder waves on the other side of the island. It's incredible. If you're a surfer, the best. It's also super cheap. We stayed in a bungalow for $4 a night on the beach. I mean, literally the ocean was hitting the bamboo underneath our room. $4 a night. We were eating probably 10,000 calories a day. I mean, and it wasn't like junk calories. It was just like pastas and rices and proteins and all this food, because we were surfing 7-8 hours a day, and when you surf that much you're gonna be starving. So we just sat there and ate and ate and ate, and the food's so cheap that we just kept eating. We were always eating at restaurants. We weren't cooking our own food. It was unbelievable. All right, so Indonesia, most picturesque spot I've ever been to. Amazing surfing, cheap. There you go. Number 3. So number 2 on the list, Thailand. Love Thailand. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I lived there for about a year. I've been to just about every city in Thailand, like over a certain population. I haven't been to some of the small villages, but most of the larger cities, whether it's Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Udon Thani, Pattaya, Koh Samui, Phuket, Krabi. I've been all over, all right? The best thing about Thailand, it's extremely cheap. The second best thing about Thailand, the food is my third best food, after Mexico and my number 1. And the problem with the food, though, you can definitely get food sickness in Thailand. Do not eat the chicken. Don't eat the chicken. I'm telling you right now, insider tip, don't eat the chicken. I guess all of their chicken just has salmonella, because it will give you some of the worst food poisoning you ever had. I mean, not to get graphic here, but you will be eating Imodium like it is candy. All right? Avoid the chicken. But beautiful temples everywhere, incredible beaches. The water is super warm. I mean, you could just sit in the water for hours and hours and hours all year round. There's temples up in like Chiang Mai. There's partying down in Bangkok. There's partying down in Phuket. There's great food all over. There's different regions that have different specialties. Krabi actually has really great pizza. I know it sounds crazy, but they actually do. And I went mountain climbing in Krabi because there's just these incredible cliffs and you can just go mountain climbing for just, I don't know, I want to say it costs like $27 or something like that. It wasn't expensive. Just like Thailand's just a great spot. I mean, I would check it out for sure, but it's still a little bit less than my number one. And my number one, you've watched any of my previous videos, you might be able to guess what it is. It's Italy. All right, it's Italy. Forza Azzurri, Forza Italia. I'm a fan of their Italian national soccer team because of my love of Italy. Number one, the food. I mean, I said Mexico has the second best food on my list. It might as well be fifth, honestly. If you're comparing it to Italian food, come on. Like, what's the point? Just get off the list. The Italian food is simplicity and complexity at exactly the same time. The ingredients are simple. I mean, 4 or 5 ingredients is gonna make the most complex, diverse tasting item you've ever had. And when they say like a pinch of salt, they mean a pinch. They don't mean a tablespoon, they mean a pinch. And it changes the entire flavor profile. Amazing. The architecture, absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. There's places that are pristine like Florence, then there's places that are covered in moss like Bari. And if you had, for my money, Bari is so much more gorgeous than Florence. Now Florence is pristine and beautiful and clean and everything's well kept. Bari has a lot of the same infrastructure, a lot of the same architecture, and everything's just covered in moss. It just, you know, they'll get to restoring it one day, but it looks so much more real. Italy used to be a nation of city-states. Rome was a city-state. That's why you hear about the Roman Empire. You don't hear about the Italian Empire because they were all city-states. Milan was a city-state. Venice was a city-state. So for this reason, whereas they do have similarities in food, they all have their specialty. Pizza, it's from Naples. Naples was a city-state. Arrachina, it's from Catania down in Sicily. The food's unbelievable. You've heard. It's truly amazing. It's pretty cheap. Like a glass of wine, I think, is €2 at most places. So that's about $3. So it's cheaper than America. All right. The architecture is stunning. I mean, think about all the great artists: Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel. All of this is from Italy. The Statue of David, that's in Florence. Like any Renaissance type like artists, they probably came from Italy. It's unbelievable. And the entire country looks like it. The people, I mean, so friendly. Up there, and you ask somebody, hey, how do you get to this particular spot? Half the time, they'll just stop the middle of their day, walk you over there, and then go back to their life. And it's like, what? This is insane. I've never seen people this nice. I'm from America. But they do it all the time. I've started doing it in Miami just because of some of the experiences I've got traveling. Then you have Rome. Colosseum. Stunning. It's awesome. It's so easy to get around. Everybody speaks English. Like, you can go anywhere. The coffee's amazing. Like, I could go on a complete love affair with Italy. But it's my number one. I will answer any comments, any questions. If you got questions about Italy, I will find you the answer because I love it. and I'm gonna go back sooner than later. The more I've been doing these videos, the more I've been falling back in love with Italy, and I want to go. So this is a longer video, but I did my top 5 favorite countries and why. And you should go check them out. If you got questions, you got comments, let me know down below. Like and subscribe, and you can follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. Let me know. Hey, building something here. All right? Talk to you guys soon. Bye.